Here we are at beautiful Molokai, right sitting on the balcony right near, we're overlooking the beach that you'll take off from tomorrow. The shore break's pretty damn juicy, and so it'll be interesting tomorrow. You just got to wait your time and you can get out, but it's pretty juicy. So I'm here with Sth Chalupsky, who's been here for a couple of weeks, but he's been staying on the Big Island, so I haven't seen him prior to this to do an interview, so we've caught up with him today, and we'll have a bit of a chat. How are you, Sth?
Very well, Tim. Thank you very much for being here and coming and doing all this good work that you're doing, interviewing all these top athletes and the guys that are over the hill as well, like Dean and myself. You know, that's why Dean's doing doubles, getting a youngster to push him. I've got an old guy to push me, Sth Coppers, who's about 62 years old, so he's a little bit older, and he's only new to the sport, but he loves the sport, and he's put a lot into the sport in Hawaii and especially in the Big Island.
That's great. Yeah, it's great to see, and I'd thought the same myself. If I did it this year, I'd like to do a double. You know, just jump in with someone. So yeah, it's great to see people like yourself and Dean going across with Dean's got a fast young guy, but you're paddling with a guy. It's good to see you jumping in with someone who's got the froth for paddling, but haven't got the experience, so he'll have a ball.
No, it's going to be a ball. I mean, at one stage, right at the beginning, 2 weeks when I arrived, I thought, oh, it's going to be really a cranker. And then the wind died, and now the wind's back. I mean, I've had some fantastic paddles in the Big Island, and we flew over, and the wind is filling in everywhere. So it's blowing. They said it was supposed to be 14, 15 knots, and I'd say it's 15 to 20 to 25 knots now, and hopefully it hangs around. That's the whole secret, because this race is tough. I mean, I don't care what anybody says, no matter how well I won some races, it's always been a tough race. It's one of those races on the calendar where there is no easy way to get across this channel. Nothing. Even when I was at 20 years old, it wasn't easy.
Yeah, it's a toughie. I heard you saying before, you can go out like a crazy man, but it just doesn't work.
No, it doesn't work. I mean, the heat and everything just takes over, and again, the pace that the people are going at, you have to follow that pace, and if you go faster than that, you're pushing yourself over the limit, and you haven't been there in training. You've got to kid yourself if you've been there in training, because what happens in training, you always got a little bit in reserve, because you're not racing against the best in the world, so you think, and I'm going hard, but you're not really. When you get a race like this, and you push beyond the limits, which you will do, it's tough. It's a tough race. I mean, especially that last quarter, and that's where you can make up all your time. When you sound mind and sound body, you're going to overtake a lot of people. That's what I've done in most of my last wins and my last races.
Yeah. So speaking of training, you're living in Portugal now, working with Nello, and I'm following you on Facebook, and you spend a lot of time traveling, running clinics and doing races and what have you.
Yeah, I think that, the only way to build our sport, it's a bit of a Mickey Mouse Cinderella sport. The only way to build is for people like the Clints of the world, and the Deans of the world, and the Corys of the world to spread the word. And the only way is to get out there and teach the people the correct way, so they love the sport as much as we do. So many people get off on the wrong foot, get a too unstable boat, and they spend their life swimming, and then they give up the sport very quickly. But if you've got the right boat and you get taught the right way, you're going to love the sport as much as we do. I mean, I've been doing this sport now for more than 45 years. And there's no waning in my interest and my joy for the sport. I mean, I really love it. I love coaching all the time. And I think that's the only way you can make the sport grow, is get out there, put people on boats, and put them there and see how much fun we have. And that way we're going to grow the sport to where it should be.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. That's why I do this. I love the sport. Ambivalent about racing now. It doesn't matter so much, but I just love paddling, especially downwind. And great to build the sport. So, are you keeping fit nowadays?
Well, I mean, I do as much as you can imagine. I'm traveling all over the world. It's fairly tough. The one thing that people are saying, and I'm always asking my wife, I feel fat, but the one thing that I'm got on my side is I do keto diet. So when I don't have to, I don't eat. So I do a lot of intermittent fasting and keto. And if I'm on my own, even my wife, we only eat once every 24 hours, so we only eat in the evenings, and we never eat during the day.
Yeah.
And just have water, and then I like my alcoholic beverages, but I don't drink as much beer, or zero beer, and I just drink champagne, which has got the least amount of carbohydrates. And I found I can race very easily. I mean, it's funny, as soon as I'm in the in the ocean and catching downwinds, I can just go forever, and I've got endless energy, and I can only put that down to the correct diet and the correct food, because I'm not training that much, and I haven't put on any weight.
Well, you've lost weight. You're looking a lot leaner than I've seen you before.
Thank you.
I didn't know you, when you were really young and fit.
Yeah, no, when I was really young and fit, when I was 16 and 17, then I used to look really mean, and then even when I won in 2012, I was probably 10 kilos overweight.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
just because of my surfing ability and knowing downwind so well, I managed to pip Clint in 2012. But now it's much easier. It's also easier to get fit when you're not so heavy. So
yeah, well, I hope you don't mind me saying, but you were a great paddler and you did really well, but you're a fat bugger.
Yeah, 100%. My nickname in South Africa is Fat Boy. Can you believe it? That's what people call me. I can't believe the cheek of it, but they do call me Fat Boy. That's what they call me. But I still made a boat go fast, and just with technique and knowledge.
And then you get a run up on the runs, and all of a sudden you got momentum going.
So some people are actually saying, "Oh, do you think it's better to be heavy?" When I was winning all the races overweight. No, it's always better to be lighter, and I feel good, and I think it's a good advert for the sport that at 56 I can mix it with the guys if I want to. This year I had, as you see, I've been traveling so much, so this race takes a lot of training and a lot of dedications, and I just didn't have the time. Although I've got fit now and I'm comfortable to hopefully go under 4 hours tomorrow, you need something special to be able to win. And I'm still very competitive, Tim, as you know. Most races I enter, I want. No, yeah, no. Most races I enter, I'd like to win, and I know when I've got the chance, and if I've done the work, I've got a small chance, especially if there's wind and waves.
Yeah. And so, how many Molokais have you done? Do you think?
My first one was 1980, and this is 36 years later. So I'm thinking between 25 and 32 or 30, around there. I mean, I was banned for a while after I won 7 in a row. So I've been coming here for a long time, and really, I don't care what anybody says, this is the best place in the world for downwind surfski paddling. The race is just the cherry on the top, but every single day you've got fantastic warm water, safe waters. It's not overly, and again, it's crystal clear. Every day is the same, and it's 12 months of the year, and that's why I can recommend this place to anybody,
Yep.
And you know that. That's why you're back here.
Yeah. Great. So this is the first time ever that you haven't done singles. How does it feel to be, sitting here on the eve of the race and, contemplating, well, not doing singles, but, still having a dip, but in a double?
Yeah, it's strange, but not really. I mean, I've still done all the correct hard work, and I'm there to have a lot of fun, obviously, taking Seth and making it a real experience for him. But again, you know me, I'm going to push it as hard as I can so that I can really give Seth the experience. It's not as daunting as being single and the pressure and things like that, but sometimes I think, hey, well, maybe I should have been doing singles, but because the weather's looking good. But I've got no regrets. I mean, this year I'm not up there as fast as I should be at this time of the year, but I'm not far off it. But that's not going to get me a top 5. And again, I think rather than skip it, rather take somebody else that he can spread the word how good the sport is and how good this channel is. It's tough though.
Yeah, and I mentioned the other day that Dean Gardner is the godfather of the sport, particularly in Australia and in the world. And I'm speaking with the man who's probably the other godfather of the sport. You've been in this from the very beginning.
Yeah.
I think you said you brought the first surfski over here.
Yeah, the first surfski came here in 1980, and those days, and Dean came a few years later, and he was always using a spec ski. I said, "Are you crazy?" And I put him on to the Fenn racing ski, and eventually he changed over. But my first ever surfski long distance was when I was 14. And I paddled with my father, Port Elizabeth to East London, 250 kilometres, and we came second by narrow. We won the second and third day, but they got too far ahead of us when I was 14. Then I won at age 16 the next year, beating Tony Scott, the real godfather of long-distance surf ski paddling. Him and John Woods in 1977 started the Port Elizabeth East London race, so that's when it sort of started this long. And then they brought it over, and then your first long distance race was in the Pi Challenge, which was Newcastle to Sydney, which Tony Scott went to. And we've got some races now in South Africa that have been going for over 55 years. One is going next weekend, in fact, from Durban to Umhlanga Rocks and back. So that's one of the oldest, if not the oldest, surf ski races in the world.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I remember the old pie race. It was Chris Bond did it a few times.
Correct, and Murray Braun, yeah.
Murray Braun,
yeah, all those guys, they're old.
Yeah, they are. I never forget him when I was a kid. He paddled with his. I just thought, who the hell is that? He paddles with his paddle upside down.
Yes.
But geez, he could go.
Yeah, he could go. And he came to the Paul East London, and he came second to Tony Scott when he did the P East London, yeah. And Ken Vintler came one year, and he also came second.
Ah.
So, in those years, that was so the sport's evolved a lot, and it's growing all the time. And the main reason why it's growing, and I keep on harping on this, is that stability before ability. Too many people trying to get on these fast boats when rather stick to a nice, wide, stable boat and enjoy the sport, as opposed to doing another sport called swimming when you're falling off every 5 minutes.
You're not so fast.
Exactly.
So are you going to race the world titles later in the year, and it's just down the road from you?
Yes, and it's not too far away in Spain, and it's a beautiful, the Brittany coast. It's fantastic. They will go all out to get fantastic downwind conditions. There's probably 6 or 7 courses there, so it's also going to be something on everybody's bucket list. I don't know if I'll make the Portuguese team. The trials will be at the Nella Summer Challenge, which is in July. So this has been really good training there, and I hope I can make the team. Then I won't be able to race in the Masters, but race for Portugal against the young guns, And hopefully there's some really good waves and wind, which there normally is, and I'll see how I go again.
All right. Great. Well, thanks for your time today, Oscar.
Pleasure, Tim, and welcome. And as I say, you must tell your guys and everybody this is something that you must come do, and you organize trips, and you must get your name on the list to come here and learn from the best and come to the best place in the world. There's no doubt about it. And Tim, with your knowledge and a bit of my knowledge, I'm sure we can let these paddlers have a great time, not just a good time, a great time.
Definitely. Sounds like a good plan.
Thanks, Tim.
Thanks, Oscar.
Pleasure.